Epoxy transformers are becoming very popular now because they're maintenance free, they're fireproof and can even be smoke proof, so the insurance companies like it. If I'm putting it down the bottom of a building and I'm putting an oil transformer down there, there is a big risk for the insurance companies to insure that building. So the first epoxy transformers in Australia were actually installed in the bottom of a very, very famous building in Sydney. Does anyone know what it was?
Opera House.
The Opera House. Exactly right. Yeah. And it was put in the 1960s and it was revolutionary. But they were very scared about the insurance and the fact that they might burn down this wonderful building, which has now become iconic in Australia. So down the bottom of, right under the water, down in the basement of the Opera House is an epoxy cast transformer. But here's the interesting thing these days is look at the expansion coefficient of aluminium, and look at the expansion coefficient of copper, and look at the expansion coefficient of epoxy. Now, under thermal conditions, which one would you choose?
Copper.
No, but the epoxy wraps around the conductor.
Then I should choose the copper.
Why would you choose the copper?
Because it's a lower factor.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. What would you choose?
Maybe copper.
Okay, all right. Here's the epoxy. Here's the copper, right? I'm heating it up, all right? So, and the epoxy is expanding faster than the copper. So what happens is, if I'm not moving in unison, I could create a void due to the difference of expansion coefficient. Okay? So the right answer is aluminium, because the aluminium expands nearly at the same rate as what the copper expands. As the epoxy expands, I beg your pardon. So these days, a lot of epoxy transformer manufacturers use aluminium with the epoxy. Now you can use copper, but you've got to change the epoxy resin. You've got to use it, and you've got to be very careful. And the way you check it, when it's expanding differently, like this, what would it produce inside the epoxy? Partial discharge. Exactly. He's right, because we get a void due to the difference of expansion. So that's why we want to match the expansion coefficient. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Now I've explained it to you, it's simple. And that's why the world is moving this way.